Hello! Welcome to my player's Front of House Salon, where I am going to be, hopefully, making a bucket hat from leftover fleece I had from a fleece I made. I'm gonna get started. I feel like a YouTuber. This is really embarrassing. It's also quite an intimate look into my bedroom, which, like, so is every Zoom call I'm on. I might cut the bits where I'm actually sewing because I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know that much about sewing. I've learned it all just by myself, by YouTube videos and stuff. I actually did use a pattern for this while I drew it out myself. I free-handed this circle. Impressive, no? I had a lot of people tell me to make a bucket hat after I made a fleece, and I had some fabric left over, and some very intelligent people said, make a bucket hat. I don't know if I would wear a bucket hat. I don't think that's quite my vibe. Maybe I can make it be my vibe. Ready out. Am I doing this correctly? No. Wait, what? Half of me sewing is staring into space, trying to do math in my head. Being like, wait. And it's like, you know that meme of the woman who has like equations all around her? I'm like, I'm really confused. Oh, I'm gonna have to cut so much of this now. So I did something wrong, which happens often, not just in sewing. So I'm gonna undo it. This is what you don't see when I upload little time lapses on my like sewing account and stuff like that. I have lots of people being like, oh my god, you should make these and sell them, and I'm like, first of all, I don't want to monetize hobbies. We shouldn't live in a world that strives to always do that, but also it takes so much effort, so much like confusion goes into this. It's often just me trying to like challenge myself, and the mistakes are fun for that, but like if I was making something for somebody else, the mistakes aren't fun anymore because they're failures. I figured it out. Well, I didn't figure it out. I consulted a YouTube video where I got this thing, which a lot to be said for consulting the original source, to be honest. I should do that more often. I initially wanted this to be like a one-take thing, like one-shot scene, you know? But I make too many mistakes, evidently, to do this quickly. But this is also the first bucket hat I've ever made. So maybe I should adopt like a YouTube personality. If I was to be any YouTuber, I think I would want to be Yoga with Adrienne. Okay, so I need to take in like that much, like that's quite a bit. If you can see there. This all fits, this doesn't, so we're gonna take that in. If you'd like to also make this bucket hat, if you have like spare fabric, I think a towel works well for this. There's like towel-y bucket hats, or like old cargo shorts. I will get Daire probably to put the link to the video I'm using in the description. So this is not a tutorial. I'm just showing you how I do this tutorial plus mistakes. Sorry, can we just... Oh my god. Jacqueline Kennedy, who? I often, while I'm sewing, watch these videos by a woman called Bailey Sarian, who I was introduced to by my flatmate Kyola. Bailey does her makeup while she tells you about some form of murder, be it a serial killer or whatever. And it got me thinking about like women's obsession with serial killer and true crime things. And it's really strange that like a lot of women kind of use it for education. Versions of serial killer stories that are like about this like fascinating man, like oh my god, like there's a new Ryan Murphy, Jeffrey Dahmer, who I mentioned in my corset video. There's a new Ryan Murphy series about him, and I'm like, you just know it's gonna be about like, oh, his crazy twisted mind. Ugh. Instead of like the horrors that the victims and their families went through. Like I feel like so often that type of narrative is pushed, that like this is a fascinating psychopath and like oh my god their mind is so interesting, whereas it's like no, they were awful. There's fluff in my throat. I've been a huge fan of baked tofu recently. Subject change. I've been a huge fan of baked tofu. It is so very yummy. Maybe I shouldn't talk about tofu. Maybe I should talk about sewing. I started sewing actually after the first lockdown, like not while we were locked down, but just afterwards, because like everybody else opened up and could like see friends and stuff, but I was living in Mayo and I don't really have many friends there. I have some, but like not, you know, you see everybody you go to college with meeting up and having fun and going for sea swims and stuff, and I was just like, oh. So I was basically still locked down. I started sewing, and actually I remember listening to I feel like the two things I do in Players now are sew and sing Phoebe Bridgers songs. I think I've only sang a Phoebe Bridgers song once for Players, but I still feel like it's kind of, I've definitely considered it more than once and then being like, no, I don't want that to be like my brand. But yeah, I remember listening to both of Phoebe Bridgers' albums while I was sewing, so they always remind me of like being in my attic, because that's where I put the sewing machine when I started. And I just started sewing, like I didn't do anything previous to it. I feel like most people sew to be somewhat more, I hate the word sustainable. It makes me think of Sylvanian drama TikTok. OMG sustainable. But I feel like people don't want to give money to companies, and you're much more appreciative of something you've made yourself. Like if you buy something and only wear it once or twice, and then in a few years like donate it to a charity shop, you don't feel bad about that. You're like, oh, it's fine. Well, I would, but I think a lot of people don't really feel bad about that. But if you were to make something and only wear it twice, I feel like you'd be kicking yourself. You'd be like, why did I spend all this time on it? So I feel like when you spend more time on your clothes, you notice everything that goes into it. You notice like the work behind clothes. You notice just so much more about the process of it, that to buy a garment becomes a much bigger deal, because you know what's gone into it. And if you see something for a very cheap price, you're like, okay, who made that? What did they get paid? Why should I fund a company that does that to people? So I think there is a big like ethical, at least for me, there's always like an ethical, political reason behind like everything I do. But yeah, I do think sewing is a really nice way, even if it's not like making your own garments. Like when I started out, I was just altering clothes. My mom was throwing out a load of clothes and I took them all. Not all, some were like questionable, but I took a lot of them and I altered them. I took them in so they would fit me. I like just did completely different things with them. I would like take them apart and use the fabric. And I think that's a really exciting thing to be able to do, to be able to give a bit of clothes new life. I've actually as well started altering things for friends. I suppose the way that sewing and things like this fit into theatre is through costume design. But I was getting lovely little costume design opportunities pre-pandemic Lovato, but since then a lot of things have moved online. A lot of it's just like not needed. There are a lot of radio plays happening. So when we're back in person, if anybody wants me to be like a costume assistant or something, please let me. I'm very interested in fashion history, and how trends resurface is something that has hugely interested me recently. Nowadays trends move so quick that it's not like we have like loads of different kind of sub trends, and things die so fast. Like those like houndstooth sweater vests were the shit. Can I say shit? They were the thing before Christmas. And then suddenly, like even maybe from like September to November, but then everybody had them and suddenly they were ugly. Not even ugly, but they were like done, they were basic. So trends move so quickly right now. But it's so interesting that the pandemic changed fashion so much. Like right now we're seeing so many bright colors. We're seeing like bright pinks and greens, and then like yellows and oranges, and like really like loud floral prints that are like hark back to like mod 60s fashion, and like colourful tights and colourful socks and stuff. We're seeing lots of like colour blocking. It's just so interesting that everyone is obviously like wanting colour so badly. Everyone wants brightness. Everybody wants, I'm making a yellow bucket hat. Everybody wants to show some level of like happiness and vitality and brightness in their clothes, and it's just really nice. I'm liking it. I like the fashion right now. It's kind of funny to be asked to do a sewing thing, or to be now like seen as somebody who sews and does stuff like this, because of course there are so many people and players who I'm so jealous of because they study costume design. I would love to get the opportunity to do that. I think it's amazing, but I also feel like a bit of an imposter, because like there are people here learning it for their literal college degree. It's so funny to be like, I'm making a bucket hat. I'm a big fan of like, just even if it's not what you're doing in life, have a skill just to do it, just for fun. I'm a big advocate of just doing things because you like them. It doesn't need to be your whole career, or you don't need to put pressure on yourself for doing it. If I didn't sew again after this, who cares? Nobody. It's nice to be able to quit something if you want. So I know this isn't a tutorial, but I have just pinned the the Jackie Kennedy hat to the brim, and it's actually so cute. Oh my god, I can't wait to put this on properly. I'm gonna sew it. I'm gonna sew around the inside of this here. I haven't like taught you anything about sewing. To sew, you press the button. That's actually not, there's no button. When I'm sewing, I'm constantly nervous, so I think I get like warm, like my cheeks always get flushed. You can't really see, but I'm flushed, and I get so hungry. I also have a bacteria in my stomach that creates too much acid, so I get nauseous every time I eat. I've sewed everything together, and I'm cutting the threads. I haven't taught you anything about sewing, but that's okay. That's why professional videos are there. I'm just here to chat shit. It's so cute. Oh god, I know I said I wouldn't wear this, but I might have lied. Oh my, okay. It's so big. Okay, it's like really big, but like maybe it's like a little sun hat. I can't tell if this is amazing or so terrible. What I'm thinking is my brothers would make fun of me for this, which makes me think it's good. Is it cool? I even have yellow nails to match. What do we think? Oh, imagine if I had a little strap, like a little bonnet. Costume designers are terrified of bonnets. And on that note, something is wrong with this, but I don't know what it is. I don't have a bucket hat for reference. I feel like a little mole.